blocks the sun. Stovepipe straight, beard like wire, eyes like thunder, voice like fire. That buried the truth in 65, but the man came back just to testify. No halo, no ghost, no holy show, just a dinkus walking tall and slow. I don't want your drama, I don't want your spin, I don't want the lies that the lies live in. Give me the raw truth, cut it clean with a blade. Abe Dinkus is back, don't make me say it again. No flags to wave, no teams to cheer, just honest words in a dishonest year. From the grave I rose for one simple thing, the truth, the whole truth. Let freedom reign. I see the screens, divided houses, broken dreams, politicians dancing in their fancy suits, selling poison wrapped in pretty fruits. I split rails once, now I split the noise. Left, right, center, all the same toys. I ain't here for vengeance, I ain't here for fame, just one old rail splitter calling out your game. I don't want your drama, I don't want your spin, I don't want the lies that the liars live in. Give me the raw truth, cut it clean with a blade. Abe Dinkus is back, don't make me say it again. No flags to wave, no teams to cheer, just honest words in a dishonest year. From the grave I rose for one simple thing, the truth, the whole truth. Let freedom reign. Your savior, I'm not your brain, I'm just a dead man with a living demand. I don't want your drama, I never did, just the truth standing tall like I always did. Abe Dinkus walks among the living still, honest Abe resurrected, unbreakable will. Tall hat shadow fades into the night, but the words remain in the morning light. Oh.
Welcome in, everyone. Good to see you this fine evening. What's new? Oh, hold on. My sound is goofy. Hold on a second. Is that better? Test. 1 2 1 2. All right. It's weird how it does that sometimes, like fish bowling me. I don't know why it does it, but hey, you know. So how are you all this evening? What's new with you? What's good? Figured I'd at least jump on and chit-chat with the chat. I have a debate coming up this week. I have some shows planned for this week as well. Had a decent talk with the wife about show schedules and making sure that that I'm able to do them without an issue. So this should be good. You hear a bit of distortion. Hold on a sec. Let me see. Let me monitor while I talk to it and see if that helps, actually. Interesting. Hear a little bit of background noise too, but hey, yeah, you can hear my wife a little in the background there. Hold on. I have to adjust the filter because if we're, you know, oh, that was interesting. It cut out part of that sentence completely. That's hilarious. Maybe it has to do with proximity and a bunch of other. I don't know. What the shit? What? Yeah. So, what is new with all of you folks? I see that Speakeasy's debating Ryan Mullally. I don't know what all else is going on. It's weird how much of this is it's cutting out. It's probably because of the noise filter. Like I have to find a balance between, yeah, between it and. Hold on one sec. I'm going to mute this for a second. There, that's turned it a little bit. Maybe that will help get the diaphragm away from, or the, yeah, whatever. Let me just have a bunch of technical difficulties right off the bat. That'll be perfect. That'll be perfect. Keep it real interesting, right? Oh, yeah. Interesting. Interesting. What else is going on this fine evening? On a Saturday evening for you all. I thought about hosting a small panel and seeing if everybody wants to have just a random discussion about topics. Like, what is your favorite government system or structure? Things like that. Random topics that we can just dig into and see what people's takes are on things. Random panel. Yes, a random panel. Could be interesting. Could be. You never know, though. Hold on. That's what we'll do. I wonder how that'll go. What are they, Marin? Are they debating jury trial again? Is that what it's about? I know that's been one of Speak's main, one of the things he's harped on a bit. Interesting indeed. Well, Sweater, there's always the idea of uh, empire or democracy or various forms of republic style governments. And so it's an interesting thing that I'm finding in the way that people present the idea of how they would like to be governed or how they would like our governing system to work. So, but we don't have to do that. We could literally have a debate, not a debate. We could literally have a discussion about comic book characters. I'd be fine with that too. You know? Yeah. Well, thank you, man. Yeah, it's one of those topics that's weird to me, the jury trial one, because there's a level of guarantee given to the American people to have their day in court, and if you just delete that, what other things are you going to yank or rip, and what are the outcomes from that, right? We can make a guess that it would be a better system, but you don't know what that system would look like until it actually is functioning. And the most zombies killed. Wow. Between Africa, Australia, and America, who do you think would win in a battle of most zombies killed? I think America would. The reason I say I think America would is because we have way more firearms, and we are far more, pardon my French, but we're far more liberal when it comes to owning weapons of any kind, whether it's large blades or swords or firearms. So yeah, I think America all the way, 100%. And yeah, I agree with that. It does look more like the UK or England, their system, where it's just like a magistrate and possibly a tribunal of magistrates that decide the fate of the offender. Um, I don't know. I guess that could fall into a bunch of different principles, but yeah, Australia would definitely. The difference between Africa and Australia is negligible, in my opinion, because of cultural similarity and also species similarity for animals that they're facing. Um, they both have extremely wild landscapes and animals to contend with, and so I think they'd just basically be equal for after the U.S. Australians definitely deal with a whole land full of angry, violent super creatures. It seems giant spiders, freaking crazy deer that stand on two legs and punch. Like, Australia is like Tank Girl in reality. It's like Mad Max and Tank Girl in one. It ain't right. Tell you what, it ain't right. The place can't possibly be real. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. It does look like a Doomslayer boss battle. If the proposition is just which continent/nation will house the most dead zombies, then Africa. Well, yes, except for that if the zombie infection hit Africa, there would be so many zombies, it'd be far harder to survive. And so there'd be less dead zombies by the hand of those who survived than in a place like the US, where there's firearms galore and the ability to defend oneself. Now, if you said the whole world is zombies and every nation has to stand against all the zombies of the world, which nation is going to come out on top? It's America. Now, if it's just tied to the region itself, then yes, Africa is going to have way more zombies than the US. Same is true for like Smoky Spaceman said, India. India is going to have a crazy amount of like tight packed zombie rushes down every main thoroughfare. Now, here's an interesting question. Oh, wait, interesting thought. Who would have the most interesting looking zombies between France, Germany, and Africa? I still think it's going to be Africa, honestly, because there's so many tribal cultures in the wide breadth of that which is Africa, that you're going to have like tribally dressed people where you're not sure what's going on. Why is that thing got spikes sticking out of it this way or that way? Whereas the European nations are going to be pretty generic. They're just going to be people in clothes that look fairly normal but became zombies. But the African ones, you don't even know. They might be coming out wearing lion's pelts or skulls or some shit. You'd be unsure if it's part of its own body or not. That would be crazy. You might end up thinking there's like chimera zombies, but it's not chimera. It's just wearing tribal dress. That's also true, Sweater. Probably the hippos. The hippos would probably kill a crap load of zombies because those zombies aren't biting through that hide and it's just going to keep trampling. Right? Most likely. Most likely. Africa has mummies because of Egypt. Germany did a lot of chemical warfare. There may be less skin left on the corpses. France has those skulls with weird shapes in the catacombs. That's actually a good point. There is some of that, but I don't think that there's living people today that function that way, you know? Look, it's possible, Smoking Spaceman, that a tribal people could get flipped into zombies and they're already wearing animal skins and horns and stuff like that. And then to you, a normal person who sees this degrading body running at you wearing like gazelle horns and a lion fur cape or something, that thing would look not right. You'd be very unsure what you're facing at that point. You'd think maybe it's a demon, not just a zombie. Okay. And that could be terrifying, especially if it had like a lion's skull and a cloak made of lion's fur with gazelle horns on the lion's skull. Oh man, you would be very unsure what you're facing. Very unsure. Yes, we're definitely nuts. You're correct, Smoking Spaceman. And this is a funny topic too. So, giraffe skulls, do they? I'm gonna have to look that up now. What does a giraffe skull look like? You got me curious now. Thanks a lot, Maren. Let's see. Oh, what? That is badass looking. It does look like a dragon skull.
I've been saving up my guns and everything, but then I don't know. I keep going back and forth with should I be rolling.
That's crazy.
Or maybe I should just hold out and hope for a G5 Bonnie, because if that happened, I'll be coming back for something at least a little bit. So yeah, I don't know.
That's so crazy. If you just found a giraffe body, a skeletal giraffe body, it would look like you're just looking at dragon's body. Seriously.
And I can't mount because I can't get out of combat. So you're
Like, look at that. That looks like a dragon skull.
That I named Kathy.
Look at these. I saw the skull and the spinal column, and it looked like a dragon's neck and head. When That's crazy.
Here, put it on my foot. Let's go.
All right. So let's see what it is. What it is.
I do miss everybody though.
A skinny cow. Come on. You got to use your imagination when you're looking at random skeletons. Like, that's part of the rules. If you find a random skeleton, right, then you have to make wild guesses about it first. And then after you've made your wild guesses, then you can settle down and say, oh, this looks like a normal everyday being. But the horns, if you could call them horns, on giraffes are very particular, and they're kind of awesome. And they do make you think, why does this thing have such a long neck and horns? Although those horns, as it were, are very different than most creatures. They're sensory organs or sensory tools at the very least, which is kind of awesome. It's exactly why they thought elephant skulls were Cyclops skulls, which, by the way, there might be some of those skulls that were Cyclops skulls. You would never know. There's no way to know, especially if they're stone. If you find them and they're already petrified, then there's no DNA to tell. Just saying. Just saying. What else is going on here? What else do we have? It's so weird how this is interfacing, actually. Like, why do I connect my voice meter in and set my volume controls and my noise gate, and then for some reason in the stream, or no, in the voice meter tool, it doesn't show movement above a threshold that is seeable for voice, but in StreamYard, it is picking it up as if it's directly to voice. But the only mic connected to StreamYard is the voice meter access to the microphone. So it's really weird to me. The StreamYard's picking it up, but the voice meter is acting like it's not picking up through the voice noise gate. You could put a giraffe skull on boats and fancy them up, and they will look like dragon skulls. Go up and down Mississippi or the Gulf of America or the oceans. That would be really cool. Yeah, I think you're not wrong. In fact, I think you could, absent the fact that we already know what those look like, right? If you didn't know what that skeletal system was already, and you presented it to people and told them it was a dragon, and they didn't know any better, you could probably pull that off, because it does look that much enough like a dragon.
This is what I wish OTBR was.
So, it's good. It's good fun. And we all should own a dragon, by the way. Everyone should own a dragon at least once in their life. True. You know it's true. Well, that's the trick. That's the trick. You make sure that the teeth are missing from the skull. So it's just the skull and all the teeth are missing. And then you let your imagination go, oh, this is where those sharp dragon's teeth were. That's what you do. That's the trick. Smoking Spaceman. That, or you take a file and you sharpen all the teeth on it. But that's less effective. You just have to pull them out and make the imagination do the work, because that's what the imagination's good for. You can imagine that there were sharp teeth in this skull because it has no teeth. Kind of like if you took a human's or a baboon's skull and it was remove all the teeth but the canines, it would look like it might be a vampire. Could be a vampire. You don't know, because you don't know how big the missing teeth are, right? Could be. We're not sure. And because we don't know, could be anything. So, anyway, that was a fun tangent. Zombie wars on different continents and giraffe dragon skulls. Actually, what if there was a giraffe? What if there was a dragon that was a giraffe dragon? Like a version of a dragon that was a giraffe. Like same color scheme and everything, only it had wings. That would be a mythical creature that's quite fun, that I've never seen in any fantasy. Okay. We need to make that a thing. Like a Pegasus giraffe. We should make that a thing. Somebody write a story and popularize it. Well, that's a good question. I don't know if zombies will fight other zombies. But this is something that I've always wondered, Smoking Spaceman. If there's a zombie apocalypse, right, and the zombies have eaten away all of the human beings, and there's nothing left for them to eat, and they've eaten all the animals, everything, right, and they're just wandering. What happens after that? After there's no more living creatures to eat, do they start eating each other, or do they just die off? Because if they start eating each other, then it becomes like a war of all against all for like however long it takes for them to decimate each other. Right? Yes, flying giraffes. That's where it's at. Flying giraffes are the way. Flying giraffes are the way of the fantasy future. Okay? Don't let anybody tell you different. Flying giraffes are the way of fantasy future. Yeah, that's what I wonder, Smoking Spaceman. If all of the living tissue is already been consumed or is dead, so there's no living to eat, do they just go stand in a giant group and do nothing? That's kind of what happened, if you remember, in what was that? The Will Smith movie and the book. Why can't I remember it right now? I Am Legend. That's what it is. I Am Legend. Do they just all go and stand, swaying, waiting for sounds or meat to show up for them to eat? A picture book for the blind. My idea of a picture book for the blind. Jackalopes are just a virus, but are real. Is it a fungus or a virus? Tell me for real. Is it? Is it what it? Interesting. And those are what? The bloodthirsty rabbits? And do we need a holy hand grenade for them? For real? And if we need holy hand grenades, can you make them? That's a really good question.
Oh, found it.
HPV for bunnies? What the really? That is messed up. I don't care who you are. That's messed up. I love that, Marin.
I'm playing so.
This is grotesque.
I'm like paying no attention.
What? What? Those warts grew in like horns. That's so creepy. That is super creepy. Okay. I don't even want to look at that. That ain't right. I don't care who you are. That ain't right. And then I have to show this, Marin. I have to show your image because that's fantastic.
I was going to try to say something in Spanish, but I can't.
Check this out, guys. Look at that. Look at that giraffe. Look at that thing. That's amazing. That is so regal. We all need a mount like that. Yes, that jackalope picture did break me because at least jackalopes look okay. That thing did not look okay. If you have warts that grow into horns, you have problems. Okay, that is a huge problem. Like full-blown horns, like inches long, that is a wart. It also would have to be extremely painful. I can only imagine that it's extremely painful, which would probably make those rabbits very, very aggressive. I have heard that. Marin. I have heard that armadillos carry leprosy. It's creepy, super creepy, and sad too, you know. Okay, here's one for you, Abe. Did you know a deer's antlers have a memory? Even after they shed, something gets encoded genetically to grow a spur the next year in the place damage occurred to the antler. That's interesting. The year before, explain that one. Well, it's called magic. Magic like my hat is magic. How about that? Look, I believe in some magic, okay? Because otherwise I wouldn't be sitting here in this hat in front of you. And you know the quote, don't you, about magic?
My name or whatever. But got to the point where it's basically controlling. I go.
Wow.
It's going good. I just don't feel like eating what everybody else eats.
Yes, antlers are deer hats, magic deer hats. That's correct. How did you know? No, I was thinking the Arthur C. Clarke quote, right? To an observer, a technology that is advanced far beyond their comprehension will look exactly like magic, right? So they just have super technology. And that super technology is magic. That's what I say. It's all magic. Cooking is witchcraft? Well, I'm screwed. Thanks. Thanks, Marin. It's just rude. It's just rude, I tell you. Oh my goodness. What did I do? I don't even know what I did, actually. I have too many windows open. That's what I did.
Actually, no, that's a really bad spot. I'm gonna go down there because when I come back, I'll get killed or something.
Interesting.
Is this character right here?
You can't just make a chocolate orange shake taste like chocolate orange and not look like a chocolate shake and not call it witchcraft. You know what? Look, I have to tell you, that's not cooking. So that may qualify as witchcraft, but that is not cooking. Okay. And I would be inclined to agree with you. Some versions of baking or cooking could qualify as magic and therefore maybe witchcraft. But it's not the part of the person doing the thing that is it, right? The magic is within the ingredients, like yeast. Yeast is obviously not real, okay? That is the weirdest shit. This dry powder crap can be added to a liquid and consume sugar and make alcohol. That is witchcraft. Okay. Think about it. You added dry powder to a sugary liquid, and that dry powder ate the sugar and expelled gases and made alcohol. That is some potion shit right there. Okay. Who said they can make a chicken taste like beef? I mean, you can do that. That is possible, but it's creepy. Look, it may be biological chemistry, Smoking Spaceman, and while I may agree with you, it still doesn't make it not magic, okay? Because the natural biological processes that we witness every day in some ways still comes across as magic, right? Like, here's one for you. When trees are growing, they put these roots into the ground. The roots do not have any form of sensory. The tree doesn't know what the roots are doing or why, but because of the way that the roots end cells work, they drive towards water, even though they have no way of knowing where the water is. Now we believe through science that there is these sensory at the tips of these roots that allow them to branch and move towards moisture. But when there is no moisture to move towards, or no reason to believe there's moisture in that direction, they still will move the direction of bodies of water. Tell me that's not magic? That's some kind of magic. It's some kind of magic, okay?
Not those, but not the islands, but yeah, those two big chunks. All of this is
that is magic too. Smoking Spaceman, dried out stuff that becomes living seahorses or sea monkeys is definitely, that's also magic. There's tiny noses at the end of the roots to smell the water. Okay, through the ground, it smells the water through the solid ground and goes that direction. You are right. It's tiny nose magic. Tiny nose magic. TNM, tiny nose magic. Tiny nose magic. I like that one. That's good. Trees are only able to grow because of their tiny nose magic roots.
Well, this one has an
Oy, oy, oy. Oy, oy, oy.
But then I went out. That was just as it. And it's like, shit. It's being spaghetti noodles.
Oh my gosh, that's going to be a crazy debate. Speakeasy versus Ryan Mullally on juries is crazy.
Like, the brand is real.
That might be true. That might be big nose magic. That might be. Although, if I'm being fair, Blood Logos, we see people of all nose sizes practicing it these days. So it might just be, I don't even know, omni nose magic or something. Omni nose, all nose magic. That's great.
But like, these are all
All nose magic. Now it's starting to sound like a certain drug, I think. Just saying. When are you going to debate Dark Abe? See, here's the question, really. Am I going to debate as Dark Abe, or am I debating Dark Abe? Because that might be weird. That would have to be like a pre-recorded debate where you guys can't see what happens, because it might get hairy. Okay. Well, I think there is a level that I can understand on Easy specifically on what he's saying or why he wants to change juries, but the way that juries function is purposeful in its current structure, and it is to separate judgment from the governing body solely, right? Because if it is the governing party that has sole authority over judgment and no chance to a jury, what happens is anybody the system wants to destroy, they can, no matter what. If the system is against you and all it is judges that decide your fate, no jury, you don't stand a chance, because that system could do whatever it wants to you and you don't get a choice, even if you're innocent. And I think that that's the destructive part of having a jury of judges, because the moment the system hates you or wants you destroyed or disagrees with your ideology or your religion or whatever, well, then that body of judges can say, guess what? Everybody who is this, you're going to prison.
This is the same as what a star is. This is a druid and a night elf.
Oh, that's a fair point. That's a fair point. Unleash the speech. I do want to debate as Dark Abe. I do want to take this hat off sometimes. I'm not going to lie to you. Look, you can actually see the hat is starting to lose its magic. Look at it. Look at that. It's starting to get all crazy. Look at that. It means most of the charge from the hat has already been given over to me. And when it runs out of juice, guess what? It's just a ticking Dark Abe. Tick tock, tick tock. So I can't even tell you how long is left, but it's fizzling for sure. Yes, Dark Abe is ready to run amok. You're not wrong. Back in the day, we're joking around. No, back in the day, we're joking around. I brought up he should make a Dark Abe and debate against himself with Dark Abe. having his own channel and everything. Well, that I'm waiting for Dark Abe to emerge in that way, in that form. Okay. I'm just waiting for that to happen because you never know. It could happen at any time. But I'm waiting for Dark Abe. Look, it's like a Tyler Durden situation, right? That's what it's like. It's like a Tyler Durden situation. I'm waiting for Dark Abe to show up and start trying to dictate things to me. It's been very stormy, not Voltaire. It's been very stormy. And I wouldn't be surprised if I don't lose power or have other things happen, because it has been a little bit wild here over the last week or so, and very strong recently. So crazy winds, crazy storms. Yes, there is magic. But see, when the magic is strongest, Smoking Spaceman, when the magic is strongest, the hat does not show like it's has magic evaporating out of it like this. You see? It doesn't appear like this. Go look at the past. It didn't look like that. So that tells me that it's getting unstable. It's getting very unstable. So be aware. The magic of the hat is unstable today. Is that so? Is that so? It just depends, I guess. You never know what's coming, right? I do have debates coming up. The question really then is like, what are we going to do about that, right? And also, I'm going to ask you an honest question, Marin and Ferrer. If Dark Abe emerges, how do you get Abe back after Dark Abe is set loose? That's the real question, right? That is the question, because if that happens, I don't know what to tell you. I don't even know how to get the hat back on that man. I don't know what to tell you. You know? Oh, look at this guy. Look at this guy. Thinks he's clever. This guy thinks he's clever. Okay. I am not a joke. You're a joke. Dark Abe Dinkus. Who do you think you are? Coming in here calling me a joke. This guy. I mean, that could happen. But there's already been established, and he knows. He knows. Hello, Cat. Good to see you. He knows. He's just chiding me, trying to get me. He's trying to get me riled up. Because a man doesn't fight in his hat, right? He's trying to get me to take the hat off to fight him, which is going to let him free. That's what he's trying to do. Pretty sure. I have heard that. I have heard he steals my content. He is a jerk. That guy. You know. What do you have to say for yourself, Dark Abe Dinkus? What do you have to say for yourself? Why don't you answer me that? Tell me. Tell me. What do you have to say for yourself, Dark Abe Dinkus? Oh, you're all scared now, huh? You're not going to talk now, huh? Interesting. Interesting how that works, isn't it? Oh, really now? Really now? This guy. I'm the real Abe. You think you're the real Abe? I was here first, buddy. I was here first. What's new, Miss Cat? How has your day been? I see that. I see him plotting. He's trying to get my goat. That's what he's doing. He's trying to get me ticked off. You know what, Dark Abe? You know what? I think you should think about your actions before you roll in here talking that ish at me. Okay? That's what I think. That's what I think.
But you feel people by damaging, and then you could be bullied, which is pure feels. So you can like kind of personalize what you're gonna do. Druids have more than that though.
You know what? Why don't you take a walk for a day or so, buddy? Why don't you take a walk for a day or so? How about that? Should have thought about coming in here claiming to be me. About that. Bet he is a vampire. He doesn't fight vampires because he probably is one. That guy. This freaking guy. Thinks he's special. Get 24 hours. Come back and see me tomorrow. How about that? That's right.
I would almost recommend trying classic because it's wholesome and it's not.
Oh man, that's crazy. That's crazy. That's crazy talk for real. If he's still there, then I don't even know what's going on.
It almost, no, not almost. It pushes you through everything so quickly that you don't.
That's right. That is weak stuff. I don't go on your channel trying to tell you how to be or trying to say you're not me, I'm you, buddy. How about that? How about that? You're not me, I'm you. Good try, though. Good try.
If you play classic, it's like I wish they never would have done that with the zones.
Thought he wanted that smoke, did he?
Classic, it is how it used to be. So like certain ones are like starter zones where you would be like.
Yeah, I heard that guy one time. He came in here and he said score 4 instead of 4 score. Like what is he thinking?
High level and you get cooked for it. Like that can't happen. That's stupid.
Yeah.
It literally does.
And good to see you, Re-Examination Show. How have you been today, good sir? Or how have you been last, I don't know. We haven't talked in a bit. I mean, I saw you in chats, but how have you been? How have you been? That's right. Score 4.
This number right here is how you can pushing these dungeons.
Have you been?
Level ones, the hardest ones ever. That's like the end game.
You're absolutely right. That is what he's talking about for real. Score 4 more, right? But it's not score 4. It's 4 score. And anybody who says score 4 has missed the 4 score. So they need to take a step back and ask themselves, what's the score?
Like gold, for instance, you can actually make money at low level in this game.
Yeah.
but I'm like,
Yeah, I heard Dark Abe likes his coffee like his soul, black and flat.
my,
Okay, that's what he likes.
it really just makes me want to get out this
So
and, like,
I did see that we
you know what?
have rioting again against ICE because the weather got nice. Is that what I'm seeing in the news?
I want to get rest.
Oh, there's also something I'm going to be addressing over the course of probably the next little chunk of time here and there is the birthright citizenship Supreme Court decision that they've been working on. So that is going to be addressed here in the near future as well, because I think that's an important topic. I think that birthright citizenship is not what it was meant to be, and I think that it's gotten way out of control. And I think it would be very responsible of the Supreme Court to find that it is particularly for American citizens and their children, not a random wanderer who enters into the United States and births a child here, and that child just automatically becomes a citizen. That doesn't even make sense in our modern era. So, whose streets? Oh, my eye. Yeah, it's ridiculous. This rioting is out of hand. I think there needs to be a degree of we know what riots are, and they need to be declared riots, and they shouldn't be allowed to continue to run roughshod over communities and people and anything and everything in their path simply because the liberal persuasion of our country finds them justified because of offenses that are unproven and unfounded, basically. Like these ICE riots are crazy. It is the purview of the American government to protect the citizenry, to defend the borders, to keep out those who don't belong, and to kick out those who are inside who do not belong. And yet you have American citizens standing arm in arm with non-citizens to stop the government from doing the job that it is tasked with by the American people and the Constitution of the United States. Oh, that's interesting. So we're just going to allow people to riot because they want some bizarre version of compassion where you destroy the lives of the people who live within your nation in order to secure a place for people that don't belong. What? Societally acceptable, therefore law enforcement won't engage with it. No, I think that law enforcement needs to be made to enforce, right? If it is the law, then it has to be enforced. And I'm about done with people saying, well, we're just gonna deny the law. We're going to deny the rules, deny everything in place just because. So we need to police the police. No, we need to get rid of the police who are unwilling to do the job that they are tasked to do. And the government officials in places that are sanctuary cities and sanctuary states and all these, this is not acceptable. It is not acceptable for a state to shrug off the security of the entirety of the nation in order to do what is illegal according to the national mandate, right? It is not within the rights of a state to jeopardize the sovereignty of every other state. Because here's the thing, those states say, oh, we're a sanctuary state, we're a sanctuary city, and then they let people come in, and then those people just migrate from that state to other states that don't have a problem with immigration, that do enforce immigration, and then they now have put footholds into states that have a zero policy in place, right? I live in a state that is totally functions within the immigration policy. It does not want illegals here, and yet we keep having immigrants enter into our state, and they've even had to go out and break up basically safe houses of like Mexican cartel houses. I live in a state that borders Canada, by the way, and yet we have Mexican cartel migrating into our state from who knows where and setting up safe houses that our police then have to go kick in the doors and arrest and get the people out of our state. And that's because there are other states that are flat out allowing cartel houses to pop up and then protecting them as though, oh, they're just here because they need asylum from the bad guys in the South. No, they are the bad guys. They are the bad guys in the South, and they're in your state setting up house, setting up shop. It's a harebrained thing that's happening. It's like they've lost their damn minds. All common sense has fled from them. And, well, just let people do whatever. It's the same thing with those people that are running around saying the borders are just imaginary lines. No, that's like saying the walls to your house is imaginary border. No, that's your house. Things that don't belong there aren't allowed there. You would stop them from entering your house if you didn't want them in your house. Guess what? This nation is the house of the American people, and the majority of the American people don't want strangers in our house. And our policy reflects that. I think it's still enforced in some places, smoking space, man. It just depends on where, right? See, there are some states that hold very strongly to the rules and the laws, and there are some states and places that do not. And the places that do not are eroding everywhere else, because what is made okay, even though it's not okay, in those places slowly branches and spreads outward. And we've seen this repeatedly, and I know you've made this case yourself that the rest of the U.S. is following the way of California, and it has done so in the past. We've seen it branch all the way up the West Coast. We've seen emulation of the policies in places like Colorado. Now, there is actual pushback finally happening in the redder areas of the country, but it's been a shit show getting to where we're at now. And I don't know what else to do other than every state that stands against the policies of places like Washington, Oregon, and California, or at the very least the coastal parts, because there is still like Eastern Washington, Eastern Oregon, and Northeastern California that are a little bit more conservative at least. But the coastal cities have lost their damn minds. Every coastal city that is a large city has gone so blue that they have lost touch with reality. They don't understand farming. They don't understand. Yeah, I know. Trust me. Trust me. I've actually sat down before Smoking Space Man and tracked and plotted some of this out. Like war gamed it, right? Like these scenarios that we're seeing and the progressions that we've seen are trackable trends over time. And as those trends move and change the political systems in each next place, you see push for it and some pushback, and then a push for it and some pushback. And we've gone from what we had in the 90s to what we have now in 2026. And if you just track trends of political movements and the changes, it's either going to be explosively bad or it's going to be tepidly bad. And the explosively bad is two sides have decided they've had enough of each other and things go kinetic in some way, whether it's fists or worse. The other is you get tepidly bad, and this slow erosion continues until all that's left is disparate fighting, right? I was going to do an open panel, but I'm not getting donations, Teriak, and I kind of feel like, it has to be worth it. It has to be worth it. You know what I mean?
It was scary. I almost got super cold.
But I think that the way that things have gone is a departure from what our country is meant to be, right? Like, we weren't meant to be the catch-all. We were never meant for that. And people go, "Oh, we're the melting pot." No. We're a melting pot once you have secured the right to be here, right? If you've secured the right to be here, then yes, it becomes a melting pot. But the melting pot doesn't mean everything else forms around you. You have to become a congruent part of the current mixture. You can't just disregard all of the cultural norms. You can't disregard the laws. You can't disregard the culture. You have to assimilate. Now, this doesn't mean you need to drop your religious beliefs and everything else. It means you have to conform enough to function within the society and hold to the laws and traditions of that society. You cannot just cast off all of that stuff, walk in as a tribe, and then start taking over the nation from the inside out, which we do see, right? We see this in places like Dearborn and others. That's not what this country was intended to be. And anybody that says, well, we're the melting pot, we need to take all people, and no, not at the detriment of the country. You don't take people knowing they're going to affect the whole of the citizenry in a detrimental way, period. It is not what you do. Why, Teriak, did you have something you wanted to argue with me about particularly? Is that why you asked about a panel? Because you want to argue with me? Some breaking news today, did you now? Hold on, Voltaire. I will check them DMs. Hold on.
Storm's almost maxed out too. Like, I can't really get better here right now until I would have to do it's like 25 man chaos. It's not that.
Judicial Watch, FBI records review. Crooks emails with deputy. Oh, really? Interesting. I'm gonna have to go through that before I present it as anything, because I need to know what it says and gain an understanding of it some.
I just want to go to silver and yellow. Okay, what is this? 18%. I'm gonna go back.
Okay. Interesting concept. So, yeah.
But I am surviving. I'm not even using my name cooldown.
The cuts on my arm opened up. I'm going to start attracting vampire. Yeah, form of government, economic systems, but I respect the grift. Oh, I see. Well, is there a reason you say that, Teriak? Did you see me say something? Because I think that part of what I said is I had some contentions with the way that JS argued against you. I think that JS has some points, but I think he's inarticulate at at how he conveys them. I think he lacks the rhetoric required in order to stand toe to toe on that particular topic. I think if he wanted to say that the optics of what you're presenting are detrimental, and if your word usage was just so that the optics were less inflammatory across the board as to incite violence against people who are conservative, he would do better for himself. Not to say that you're incorrect, but that his argument against you was about the pieces and parts that seem to the layman to be functioning as something that you claim it is not, right? And so long as it appears to function in the way that they are seeing, well, then they're going to oppose it tooth and nail. And it'll be the whole of the left and most of the center who will oppose it, which will leave you stiflingly off balance against the opposition. Now, if you could convince them by saying, yes, maybe my optics were off a little bit. Let me fine-tune them in a way that the center doesn't initially turn against me and also drag all of the left against me. Well, then you might have your way of winning. But again, that is exactly like I was saying. It's because the initial optics of the thing are that you are claiming something that has been with imagery of what is, and it makes what is seem like what has been to the middle and to the left. And because the middle and the left will then unify against the thing that optically seems to be what you're saying it is not, you lose at the polls. If that's right. Like, that's the long game of it. Because your optics would have to convince middle grounders who don't adhere to one thing or the other. They're kind of just ethereal in the way that they function. You would have to coax them through some, I don't know, good optics and rhetoric to see, whatever it is that you're trying to present to them. Because unfortunately, the better part of any society is filled with people that don't have the time, won't take the effort, or are too ignorant to know the difference and will follow what their eyes and ears tell them or what random people tell them. So, yeah, there's that. And this is why I tell people logicians are very important and rhetoricians are very important. But most of society is not well equipped to function within the philosophical and logical frameworks. And it takes a rhetorician to convey to normies and laymen messages in a way they will understand and will guide them to what it is you want them to do, feel, think, believe, whatever it is. In our modern era, rhetoric wins over things like pure logic in a lot of cases, and it's because they're not equipped to handle direct logical argumentation absent good rhetoric. That's why people need training to convey these messages in a more meaningful way to the average mind. Yes, you are completely correct, Teriak. You are completely correct with that. Because he doesn't actually have to make sound argumentation so long as his rhetoric hits them in the right spot in their mind and they go, hey, that makes sense to me. Could be completely logically fallacious, but The rhetoric was good, and they bought it. Hook, line, and sinker, they bought it, and they're on board. And I see this all the time on the left, and I feel like, yes, there are some good rhetoricians on the right, but we have really strong logicians who will smash face when it comes to things like legal and philosophical arguments. They will bring that logic and they will trash people. I don't see the same level of rhetoric well done on the right on the whole as you see the manipulative rhetoric on the left. So that's why I say the debate show that I want to work on for helping people fine tune that is coming. So be ready. So we can all work together to hone our logical debate skills, but also hone our ability to utilize rhetoric more meaningfully. Oh, memeing is a mixture of things, Bandit. Yes, rhetoric plays into the meme. But what I'm talking about isn't so much the meme culture, although that is also super important. The meme culture that has been fought is very important. But rhetoric is more encompassing than just memery. And memery, huge chunks of memery, can fall outside of the realm of rhetoric. So there's overlap, but they are not one and the same, right? That's a fair statement. Sorry. Teriak says, the lucky thing is the left has no logicians. They can't even ground logic. So once the right has enough prominent rhetoricians, then the left is finished, which is starting to happen, in my opinion. Yep. That's a fair assessment. I think that people are becoming more, well, here's the thing, like Charlie was a rhetorician. Now, you could say that he was too milquetoast. You could say he was century. You could say he wouldn't go far enough. But regardless of all of those things, he was earnest in his walk. He was earnest in his beliefs and how he saw the world. And in that earnesty, in that honest belief of the things he was saying, he was also an effective rhetorician. And he utilized good logic in the argumentation that he made, at least when it comes to what is needed. Yeah, it's true, Teriak. It is true. None of it matters, Smoking Spaceman says, none of it matters. You're trying to convince people who have already been indoctrinated and programmed. You have been molded and shaped minds and wait a generation or two. This is partially true, Smoking Spaceman. You are correct that a level of demoralization has set into the general populace of the United States of America. However, because America functions the way that it has, because there was inbuilt functions that came more or less from the Enlightenment, there is a level of open-mindedness that still exists even with those who have seemingly cemented the ideas in their head. Because we are more malleable mentally within the United States, there is a chance to break through levels of demoralization in the younger populace, especially the current up-and-coming populace, which means we don't have to wait an entire generation if we want to change minds. And to be fair, I've had plenty of conversations with people in their 20s and 30s that are still malleable enough to actually listen if you can present the points and the issues in a way that breaks through. Now, if they've become dogmatically programmed to the point of they can't even see it, sure. And that does happen, for sure. But even when I've had conversations, not online, by the way, because online is a different sphere of existence, Online personalities are not the same as everyday chatters and is not the same as people outside of the internet. Most of the people that you see on your screen have fully made up their mind on what they're talking about, and there isn't any changing them. Now, chatters, on the other hand, chatters, generally speaking, are here. Some of them have made up their mind completely. They're not changing. Some of them are unsure, but pretty sure. And some of them don't know. They just don't know. And they're going to listen until something makes sense. Outside of the internet, in an everyday scenario, most people haven't even thought about things on the level that get discussed here. Tons of people. Like, I have talked to plenty of people in my everyday life that don't even think on the levels that are discussed on the internet. They haven't even really dug into the idea behind what's happening here or there, or why this is important to them. They don't even know. They've just heard the TV talking about it, and they've had a few passing conversations about it, and they don't even have a cemented position on anything in their daily life. No, I think that the subsets are as here's the thing. The demoralization was started prior to the 80s, right? And one of the things that I've realized is, yes, there's a level of demoralization that each generation received, but there was like a fever pitch for those that were demoralized to the maximum. And the problem with this is each next generation seeks to rebel from the one before it. And so, yes, the first generation, for instance, is demoralized. The next one is also demoralized. Maybe they hit the fever pitch, right? The second generation hit the fever pitch because they were young when this demoralization began. Now, they're going to continue to age throughout their life, and they're going to reach a point of complete stalwartness and cemented standards for whatever demoralization has set in. The next generation after them are going to fall away from that a little bit. They're still going to be harsh, but they're going to fall away some. And what we're seeing is, here we are in the 2020s, and we're seeing Gen Z pulling away from the demoralization in crazy ways that couldn't have been expected from what we were seeing prior to them. And there's a chunk of the millennials who are also now falling away because they've realized they were sold a bill of goods that was completely false, right? When young men can't find mates, when young women realize that they were sold a complete fabrication, that they need to be in the work field for the entirety of their lives and never have children, that's complete falsehood. And the wall is hitting a whole bunch of them that are older millennials. And so you see the younger millennials actually interfacing and realizing this may be the case. You see everything after that generation is falling away from some of these ideas. And part of it is the rebellious nature of human beings. And the other part of it is the hard facts in their face. Now, depending on where you live and what you see on a daily basis, this may be represented completely differently, right? The state that I live in, for instance, is mostly not in that demoralized chunk. They don't automatically believe all these messed up things that say Yuri Bezmenov talked about, right? So they're not in that boat. I'm not seeing that from the general populace where I live. You will see it, however, in the bigger cities. You're going to see it everywhere in New York. You're going to see it everywhere in LA. You're going to see it everywhere in Seattle. You're going to see it everywhere in Portland. You're going to see it in the big cities around the Great Lakes. You do not see it in the flyover states as much. You don't see it in places that are standing as bastions of conservatism. You just don't see it in the same numbers you do in other places. And luckily for me, I've traveled quite a bit in my lifetime, and I've realized there is magnitudes of difference from state to state, city to city. And I don't think a lot of people realize just how diverse the ideas are one state over from them if they don't spend the time going between and realizing the difference. There is places in the US that are going to stand against the demoralization at all costs, if it costs them their lives at all costs. And there's places that are pushing the demoralization, called progressivism, across the board. And those are generally going to fall over time because it's not sustainable. It is pushing them are unsustainable in the long run. And again, I say because of because of the rebellious nature of the youth in general, the punk culture, the subset cultures that exist in each next generation. And I think that we're seeing that happen. Now, does that mean that that I know for a fact we're going to pull out of this? No, I'm not even making that claim. But what I am making is there's at least a reason to stand your ground and hope that we can pull out of the demoralization that has been placed on us and has progressed over time. It progressed over time, but now we're seeing a great falling away from that. Even to people who we would imagine should be cemented in their positions, but they obviously are not, because they're changing their stances as they age. The other part of this, right? So if it is the case that the next generation rebels against that came before it, right? There's a secondary piece to this. So they rebel against what came before them, and people become more conservative as they age. Those two principles together means the demoralization can't hold its ground the way that it has, because the rebellious nature of youth and becoming more conservative with age, if you're rebelling against the democratic and the progressive, right? That's your rebellion. Punk culture has become more conservative, and you become conservative as you age. The combo here is that the rebellious nature is to seek conservatism, and then you become more conservative as you age. So when you add those two together, you kind of end up with like a super speed trend towards a more conservative nature across the board. Well, obviously. Well, wait, what? The problem is conservatism has become more liberal with age. Well, sure, there's a level of the Overton window shift over time towards a more leftward tilt. But even that we've seen happen before and jerk back to the right. It's a constant ebb and flow back and forth. And it can become super super over the top in one direction and super over the top in the opposite direction. But human nature seems to yank it back and forth always. At least from what I can see. Sure, that's great. I'm not saying that isn't the case, but you're looking at like our current generation and in the span of decades, and I'm saying over the course of human history, what we've seen is when humanity pushes towards the liberal or the progressive, however you would see it over time, there is a jolt that will happen, and it will slam back to the other side, and then it will slowly drift back towards the more liberal, progressive values. The thing is that, okay, this is in my mind, this is how it looks to me currently. So what I see is humanity, as they become comfortable, as they become complacent, as things get easier and easier for them to survive, they slowly slide into the progressive, not caring, do as thou wilt mentality. And the moment that things get hard and purpose is needed and everything's falling apart because of the way that society is, they slam that shit back to a conservative worldview. And again, once that happens, there is a slow trend back towards the weak and comfortable and complacent. And it seems to me that it continually happens. Yes, it is the good times and yeah, good men. It is that, but there's more pieces to that puzzle than that saying gives us, right? Weak men make hard times make strong men make good times, right? That saying. There's more to that, right? And if you've ever looked into things like the fourth turning or other metrics for how we've seen cycles move over time, what you end up seeing is that there are a whole bunch of base parts connected to this, and they're economical, they're cultural, and so as much as there is the strong men making good times and it being corrupted over time because of comfort to become weak men, those are true. But then on the mass scale, beyond that, we look at economies in the structures of nations and what happens when the economy tends towards runaway and you must expand in order to care for the people, in order to keep the good times in place, right? And all of that actually plays into the strong men and weak men scenario. The greater that the nation becomes, the more complacent they become. But because of that complacency, they also have needs that spiral out of control financially. And then they need rapid expansion in order to sustain it. And so it's not just the hard times and good times. It's literally so much more than that. And it's all interlinked. And we see this cycle play out repeatedly because, well, political and national systems are big, and small humans can't grasp the whole of a system in order to keep that from happening. And even if you could, you couldn't convince enough people to also do it and help you do it. What's going on here?
But I also can hear it. Maybe I'll put this out.
I don't know what's happening in my chat right now. What are we doing?
Get stuff to sell. And armor.
I don't understand why that is coming up. Like, one, to be fair, I didn't claim free speech as a complete universal, but I mean, if he hasn't said anything against TOS or inflammatory against individuals in order to destroy or defame them, then you don't need to mute him out. But I wasn't paying attention to everything he was saying either. So I do believe, like, the principles of free speech in the Constitution, right? Like, the government should not have the ability to put his foot down on you for most things. That doesn't mean all things, right? So there's a level of too far when it comes to speech. And if we're being honest, this channel is my channel, not the place where everybody gets to say whatever they want. If something I believe is too far for my chat, I will be okay with stopping that from being said, because it is my sphere or domain of communication. And I'm going to not let people come in and like preach Sharia law in my chat if it's extreme and over the top. I'm going to say, look, I don't want that here. You can take that somewhere else, or you can debate it with me on panel, but you're not going to like hurl insults and shots at me over stuff, right? I've done that with Steelman before. He's not going to come in here and make up stories about my military service or call me things that I am not. I'll shut that down. What do you mean you can't say you like Dark Abe more? Dang it. I don't know what I'm saying. I don't know what you're saying. But anyway, there is a trend, right? going back to what I was saying before, there's a trend, and I think that when the whole of society tends too far towards the progressive slant, what happens is the society starts auto-correcting itself. It starts saying, nope, we're not okay with this. We're not okay with this. We're not okay with what's happening. We're not okay with the death of babies in the womb. We're not okay with, right? The more that happens, that sweeps back a whole bunch of stuff back into the conservative viewpoint. When people realize what they're doing is over the line, right? Like when wickedness becomes so rampant that the public conscience is pricked, they will pull back some. Now, it doesn't mean that they will autocorrect everything or that people are good or that society is good. But what it is when they're realizing that it's wrong and they're prompted, they will pull it back some. It was satire, man. Babe's hat needs to be E4D. Gotcha. E Ford. Dark Abe is like the Ark of the Covenant. Once that hat's off, we are all what? Damn. That would be rough. That'd be real rough. I mean, Voltaire came up with a pretty good compromise the other day. He did say, what was the, how much did you say it was to take the hat off? I don't remember what that, there was a monetary figure, okay? No, just a nicotine vape, honestly. You said it, Smoking Spaceman. Right. Smoking Spaceman said it. 3,000. It's a good one. It's a good goal. Should I do that? Should I just change this goal at the top of the screen here to say hats off, and then when it reaches 3,000, the hat comes off? Now, you have to keep in mind that you'll get what you're asking for, but you don't know what that thing is. Okay, you don't know. It could be incredibly exciting. It could be massively fun. It could be a crushing and crippling of our opponents, or it could be something else, and you don't know. But it'd be worth trying, right? We'll see. I don't know if that's true. I think it depends. Re-examination show. I think it depends. I mean, I'm not saying it wouldn't be bad. I think it'd be freaking cool, but you know, you can't really guarantee that would happen, right? Quack, quack. Thank you, Never Lucky Rubber Ducky, for your membership as well as your insanely kind $10. I appreciate it so very much. Quack to you, good sir. Quack to you. Never Lucky Rubber Ducky, is it true that you do quack foo? Because I heard this somewhere, that Never Lucky Rubber Ducky knows quack foo. Is that true? Is it true? It could be a special dono bar. You're correct. I could add a secondary donation bar specifically for the hats off moment. Allegedly. That is such a good word. That is a very good word. I prefer Quaco-Roman wrestling. Very clever. Very clever, sir. one must turn away when the hat comes off. I mean, I've been waiting for it to happen for a while. I have. And I imagine that the chat would like to see it happen at least once, right?
Unless you're high enough damage to do like the KO him before this happens.
That reminds me. There's this song about
Good. Okay. This way. That one.
a dark Abe incursion that I once heard. What is happening here? I don't even know what's happening here right now. What the heck? What the heck?
Yeah, this is a huge
Wait,
monster. So I keep zooming
hold
out
on.
this way.
Hold your horses. One moment.
Going on. Yay, I got that one done.
Oh, right. Sorry. Sorry.
20 people.
What? Why did it do that? That was really weird. I was typing, and it changed what I was typing to something that had nothing to do with what I was typing. And it wasn't just like it corrected something. It like was completely different, like numbers and stuff. Okay, I didn't type any numbers, but thank you. Vidya. Okay, hold on. I'm going to play this for you guys, and you tell me what you think you want. If you want to see the moment, wait, that, if you want, yes. Oh, I appreciate it so much. Thank you. Whoa, I'm going to just smack my microphone. Sorry about that. Thank you, Reexamination Show, for your massive $10 donation. Glad you're not roboting. Bravo, Mr. President. God bless you, Mr. Dinkus. God bless you too. Reexamination Show. God bless you too. Now, ladies and gentlemen, as we were discussing the hats off moment, I think that we should listen to a small tribute about the hat coming off, right? So here you go.
From the grave he rose, tall hat glowing. Abe's back, but the shadows are growing. Tall in the saddle, stitched from the past, resurrected Abe, making history last. Top hat sitting high, magic woven in the brim, keeps the dead man walking, keeps the fire within. Emancipator flow honest with the axe, split rails in the moonlight, never looking back. Crowds gather round when the stovepipe gleams. They say that that's the reason for the American dream. But the wind is howling, fingers start to slip. One cuss too many and the bounce starts to flip. Head on, resurrected Dave, savior in the night. Magic keeps from breathing, keeps the wrong from right. Head off, darkness rising, eyes turn cold black. Dark Abe has emerged and he ain't holding back. Shred on my opponent's getting torn. Beard full of thunder, soul full of storm. Head off, the legend's gone insane. Dark Abe in the house, bringing nothing but pain. No more mortal speeches, no more four score. Now it's Four more bodies lying on the floor. That stovepipe flies hits the ground with the crack. The resurrection spell done broke right in half. The rain splitter turned reaper, axe swinging wild. Log cabin nightmares for every man, woman, child. You forever, now it's domination. Dark day got the nation under new occupation. Resurrected day, hero of the light. Dark age rising, ready for the fight. Shred 'em, leave 'em in the dirt. Top hats in the mud, and the whole world's turned. The beast is been released, resurrected no more. Now it's the deceased, unleashed. You thought you knew Lincoln, thought he was done. But the hat was the chain, and the chain just come undone. No mercy, no debate, no courtroom, no plea. Just a 6'4" nightmare coming straight for thee. Head on, dark gate walking. Head on, the world is shaking. Head on, every opponent about to get broken. She's gone, the darkness flown, the good man is dead. Now a treading Caesar with a hatless head. The resurrected ape is gone. Dark age, dark age, dark age, dark age, dark age. Atop in flames. America's nightmare has a brand new name.
See, that was fun. That was real fun. Very interesting. Very, very interesting. Yes. Where's Daddy Talcott? I've never had Talcott on my channel, and I've actually never been on Talcott's channel. So I have no idea. Yeah. I think it would be a blast, ladies and gentlemen. I think it would be a blast. Carry all over the counter to keep your wheel spinning. Well, I think that sounds like something else, but hey, I could be wrong.
I wonder if the Paladin can do it because they don't use
Yes.
run out of it.
Yes. So that's what we would receive. We would receive that, Abe. And I think it'd be best to put that guy into some debates because that would be a lot of fun. Okay. What are we doing, ladies and gentlemen? What are we doing? Because that original goal expired before we reached it. We did at least get 2 good donations. Actually, we may have gotten more than 2, to be fair. Did we get? No. But thank you to Reexamination Show, and also thank you to Never Lucky Rubber Ducky, because you guys are legends. To be fair, you're all legends, but they're more legendary right now, okay? You want to see a not nice Abe for a change. I think a lot of people want to see a not nice Abe for a change, especially when it comes to the debate spaces. I tend to agree with you. For real, I tend to agree with you. But I'm bound, you see, by this hat upon my head. stop. Otherwise, he might get the idea. The leprechaun is highly impressionable. Oh, that's he might be. He might be. I've been thinking on this for quite some time, to be fair. I think that I should be unleashed. And I should take some of these bigger debates with higher animus, we could say. For the Emperor. Your goals matter not to the Imperium. That's great. That's good stuff. Good stuff. So there is the case that people that get nasty come off as stupid. I don't need to get nasty, right? I tend to think that you can thrash people very effectively and aggressively without just being a insulting, nasty a-hole for no good reason, right? You can thrash people with logic and rhetoric without ever ushering a singular insult, in fact. Now, insults can be fun. And the after fact insult, where it's not a ad hom, works pretty effectively. But you don't have to do those things, right? Welcome in, Miss D. Good to see you. The nasty part is a degree of opinion, right? What dictates whether or not something is nasty is literally going to be gauged by the individual, right? For instance, somebody could think that this guy is getting nasty because he's calling people dumb. To everyone else in the crowd, that may be nothing. It's like, oh, yeah, okay, cool. That's not nasty. That's just he's saying that person was dumb. For the next person, it could be he's using, cuss words. Now that has made him nasty, right? And you are correct that a certain level of nastiness, absent intelligence, will come across as complete stupidity. But I think if you carry yourself and argue well in a certain way, then you can be harsh and aggressive without dropping into seeming like a complete dummy. But there's definitely the over-the-top moments where it doesn't really matter how well you did. You pushed it over a line that made everybody go, that's too distasteful for me. Where the line is, well, that's going to depend on, who your audience is at the moment. Miss D, don't make me go even more stupider and nastier. That's right. That's right. Or you could take that and say that was stupid nasty, right? And that doesn't mean it was stupid or nasty. Funny how language works, isn't it?
Okay, I literally never had that.
Yep. Actually, that would be a fun moniker. Enter a debate with the moniker Stupid McNasty and just dominate people. That would be so funny. You have a debater come up that's Stupid McNasty and they just dominate people in debates. It's a good idea, Miss D. You spurred that, Miss D. You spurred the character, Stupid McNasty. Thank you for that. Yes, Smoking Spaceman, I would agree with that. The difference is in managing your emotions and not letting them manage you. Because when nasty meets somebody who is now into their emotional screeching stupidity, then yeah, you've gone beyond the point. And there's a boatload of trickery within that realm, actually. Right. Or a prompt that is nasty stupid. Yeah. But there's a boatload of mechanisms and such that play into this, right? Like your confidence on the topic, your heart rate and regulating motion and all these other things. Your disconnectedness or overconnectedness to the topic itself. And a good debater actually trains themselves to push buttons specifically that will generate some response within their opponent. Now, how effective you are at that and what it takes to get that person to that point off balance is it's going to be very person dependent. So 2 of those for 1 Emmett. Yeah. Get yourself an Emmett today. Don't forget. He's your grounded punching bag. He's your grounded punching bag, and he's good for it. Okay. Get yourself an Emmett today. You can go back and watch the commercial if you need a reminder. Okay. It's a good commercial. What else is going on out there tonight, chat? How are you all doing? What topics are on your minds? What's new? That will be $799.99. What are we talking about? We were the Scottish that came over, served the first King of England, King Hood. Then the whole legitimate child fiasco happened, and we moved over to France and were royal guards. Okay. You guys are just talking in amongst yourselves. I'm just jabbering at this point. You all are just having a conversation and like rolling off of what I'm saying, and then it takes its own will and travels along. And, and then I'm on to a new topic, and you may or may not address the topic, but hey, you're here. Nap trapped. The baby is dead weight on me, and I have a ton of ironing to do. Well, here's the thing, Misty. That baby that's trapping you is very, very warm. So what you do is you pick that baby up and you use that baby to iron. Okay. It's just a baby iron. That's what you do. How does a posse track rear end? Well, posse track rear end in a Plymouth work, Abe. Oh, I am not going to draw out a diagram of how you separate the motion of one gear so that both gears move in opposing directions. But basically, you need a gear assembly that allows for one gear, the in spline, to turn one side and then turn the opposing end of the in shaft to drive the other, so that both are traveling the same speed in opposing directions, which translates to same direction in the overall vehicle. That's how. You can say what? I don't know what you're talking about. Welcome in, Go Tyler TV. Good to see you, good sir. So yeah, it's physics and shit. It just does. No, I mean, there's actual functionality to how it works. And it's not that hard to figure out. But Does that mean everybody knows it? But, you know, who knows? Maybe it's magic. Remember, we started this whole conversation with magic. Anything that we don't understand would appear as magic, especially if it's significantly more advanced than we are, right?
That's what the hackers really did for the farmers. Wizard got rid of that, I guess.
X was for Tylenol. Oh, okay. All right. Good to know. Good to know. Magic. The Gatling? I mean, a Gatling is kind of magical, to be fair. Yes, sir, Ferrer. I will check it. Check the ROM. What is the purpose? What is the purpose?
Why do I keep starting it with that move? That needs to stop on the ground behind me. It's not standing. So I'm gonna get rid of this tree guy.
That's fair.
And he's gonna feel that. Oh, jeez.
Yes, that's fair, Ferrer. That is very fair. And I don't disagree with you. Say time and a place, maybe. Time and a place. Maybe the next stream, in fact. I'll be in talks with you. How about that? How about that? Catch me outside. How about that? Because I do not disagree with you. And I think that there is a level of that's exactly what's needed for momentum, right? The real momentum, not the oh, this is fun, but like true driving momentum. So yes, I agree. Are you sure re-examination show? Because I think I could make another commercial. They're very fun. I won't do it today. I will ward it off for today, but there may be a commercial in the future coming to a YouTube street near you. Okay. It could happen. Oh God. That's what I hear every time when I see that face. That's what I think. Oh, like, I don't know why. In my head, that's what happens every time I see that one. Somebody else probably hears like, yo, or something. I don't know. I don't even know. On a roll. YT has streets. Yes, these are the YouTube streets. If you don't know this yet, there are streets, and the streets divide the different verses. And each verse is like a city block, and that verse is responsible for its own different fundamental culture, like the panel verse or the cool verse or the crucibility block or the what have you. They're just different blocks. And the streets are the tubes of chats in between all these things, the linkage, the connective tissue that is chat. You see. All right. Yeah, I don't know what else. Is there any thing that I ought address today on this random stream of, what did I title it again? The case for? Indeed, what is the case for? Yes, it's a topic never got brought, so the blank remains. If you know what I mean. I don't know how you could know what I mean, because I don't know what I mean, but I did say the case for blank. But it seems that that is the case, right? The case for blank is, in fact, the case. Because I must make the case. Franklin Roosevelt caused. I missed something. What's the case with the raisin mafia that Franklin Roosevelt caused? Why raisins? That's a good question. I don't know. I can't remember. Were you a victim of Jungle's squad wipe on VK last night? I was. That was surprising for sure. Every once in a while, you get crazy events like that where it's like, whoop, board wipe. Actually, kind of reminds me of childhood. You know, when you're playing a board game and you're the oldest of your siblings, and there just happens to be a board wipe, just all back into the board. Game over. Happens. Sometimes it happens. And you just go, interesting. Guess I'll play video games. Right? Oh, did he? That's funny. Yep. How do we move forward into a Trumpless world and power vacuum? I don't think that it is possible to not move forward. So we will move forward. How that looks, well, who knows? Wait. At least until I forgot to vote for myself in a debate versus Mo Rebuttal. Well, yeah, that could happen. That does happen sometimes.
I had to actually walk in for a second. It's not like I could, but I was like, okay, I gotta actually hit the right.
Let's go. The only issue I have with it is the age and health, because, and this is not to say that there's an issue there, but obviously as we age, we become less and less effectual at the thing that we are doing. And I'd really like it if we could have some good, strong Christian conservative leadership rise through the ranks and push for leadership so that we could continue to put good Christian men in position, which, I don't know, man, seems to be a struggle at times, and other times I feel like we could do it, you know. It's hard though. Like, sometimes you have to examine yourself and say, am I supposed to be the one that should run for some of these positions, in whether it's local government or state or federal? I think all of us kind of, generally what happens is we all feel like we don't want to be the person to do it because we're not built for it or we're not right for it. The question really emerges, is anyone right for it? Because if you're asking yourself, and you say you're a good moral Christian dude, right, and you're asking yourself, am I right for this? Guess what? The flawed immoral dude, he's not asking himself that question. By no means is he asking himself that question. He is thinking, I'm going to go and take that power and I'm going to run with it and do whatever the hell I want. So if you're out here and you have the mind for it and you have the moral grounding for it, and you're asking yourself that question, keep in mind that your opponent is not. And it takes good men willing to stand up and do it, even though they're not sure if they're the right man for the job, against those people out there that have no morality and say they don't have any compunction to not run. They're going to do it because they want to push whatever it is that they want to push. I think that there's a level that emerges in Christian men where the humility will say, I don't think, there's probably somebody better than me for that job. And instead of that, they should be saying, wait, can I do the job? And would it be better for me to be in there than some far lefty? Probably, yeah. So maybe think about actually doing the thing. I agree with that. I think that there was a very strong chance that Charlie was on track for that. Showed that someone from YouTube can run for office. Yeah, I agree with that. Like we are in a different age than the age we grew up in, for sure, 100%. Right? You have people. First of all, we have Trump, who wasn't a politician the entirety of his life, walk out and run for president and win it. We have people who are YouTube personalities, average Joes for the most part, right? Guys that aren't super rich, aren't special, aren't important in some crazy way, build a name for themselves and run for office. We're coming into a time period where we're going to see the falling away of the older boomery generations, and it's going to be the turn of Xers and millennials to step into positions. And I would urge anybody who has a mind and the strength of will and character to run, even if you question whether or not you think that you are the right one, because like I said earlier, the opponent, right, the one who doesn't have moral grounding, who doesn't care, who's just in it for themselves, is going to run. They're not going to ask them their questions. You do. Well, that may be true, Smoking Spaceman, but it doesn't mean that that person's the wrong person for the position, because actors or YouTube personalities are just people. The question is, are they good for the position, and do they believe, and are they going to carry out what the people want? Right? Like, I think there's a weird internal thing in a lot of people that there's a humbleness that will say, I'm not right for that, even though they're intelligent enough, they understand policy well enough, they have a good moral grounding, and they will hold back and let other people run. And what happens is that person could have been extremely victorious in their run for office, and they probably would have been really good in the position, but because they're too worried about whether or not they're the right person for the job, they let dirtbags and villains walk right into those offices because they're too humble. And it doesn't take pride, but you also shouldn't let yourself not fight for your country in a political fashion like you would on the battlefield, simply because you think you might not be good enough. Well, yep. That was that interview in 1988, Marin, where he was on Oprah and said he doesn't think he would run for office because it's a mean life, but he believes, even if he has harsh opinions, that are right opinions, right? I remember that. And so yeah, I think that there's a level of sometimes you just do it because you are the right one for that job. Good to see you, Scott. Good to see you. All right. What time are we looking at? Actually, ladies and gentlemen, I might have to throw a line to another channel and send you guys there because I have to do some things. It is 11 and I made a 11 for me, 1 for you, and I made a commitment for 11 p.m. my time. So what I'm going to do is ask you, chat, please engage with me here. Of the people who are live, who would you like me to send you to? Put it in chat. The name I see the most, I will send the raid to. So you let me know. Swiftly, though, let me know. And I will send a raid to that person. One vote on the Rumble side. Tick, 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 tick. Where are you guys going? Come on. Folks on the YouTube side. Got one vote on the Rumble side. You guys, let me know where you want me to send you. You are the only one typing. That is true. You're the only one on the Rumble side typing, Risen Heart. But on the YouTube side, there's also 18, 19 people, I think. 21 people, actually, to be fair. Yeah, that's what I'm hearing from the other side as well. Go, Tyler. Let me look. Alrighty. Do. Yeah. Okay. That is fine. Where is that, though? Bum, 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 bum. There we are. Okay, that's fine. Really meow. Really meow. Is he? Let's look. Let's look. Hold on. Sorry, guys. Okay, sorry about that. The misses. All the misses. Just starting? Okay. I think that's what I'm going to do. Dun, 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 dun. Volt, link that in Discord if you could, please. And to all of you out there, oh, guys are giving me so many different ones at this point. So, okay, let's. Well, you link me, And chat, I'm going to play you a song while I get this set up. Thank you so much for being here with me this fine evening. I look forward to my actual scheduled streams coming this week. Keep your eyes out for 7 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, which is 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for my show. I'm going to try to do 3 days this week, probably Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I have a debate over at Horseradishes, so keep an eye out for that as well, but that is my plan. So for now, I'm going to play a song for you. God bless you all. Have fun where I send you, and I will see you on Monday.
The sun, stovepipe straight, beard like a wire, eyes like thunder, voice like fire, that buried the truth in 65, but the man came back just to testify. No halo, no ghost, no holy show, just a dinkus walking tall and slow. I don't want your drama, I don't want your spin, I don't want the lies that the lies live in. Give me the raw truth, cut it clean with a blade. Abe Dinkus is back. Don't make me say it again. No flags to wave, no teams to cheer, just honest words in a dishonest year. From the grave I rose for one simple thing, the truth, the whole truth. Let freedom reign. I see the towers, I see the screens, divided houses, broken dreams, politicians dancing in their fancy suits, selling poison wrapped in pretty fruits. I split rails once, now I split the noise. Left, right, center, all the same toys. I ain't here for vengeance, I ain't here for fame, just one old rail splitter calling out your game. I don't want your drama, I don't want your spin, I don't want the lies that the liars live in. Give me the raw truth, cut it clean with a blade. Abe Dinkus is back, don't make me say it again. No flags to wave, no teams to cheer, just honest words in a dishonest year. From the grave I rose for one simple thing, the truth, the whole truth. Let freedom reign.